British actor and producer Terry Stone. Actor and producer Mr. Terry Stone.
Terry Stone.
Terry Stone.
Terry Stone. Today's guest is star and director of Rise of the Footsoldier, Terry Stone, one of the most famous faces in British acting. We're going to talk about how he started his journey as a young entrepreneur in the rave scene to going on to collecting BAFTAs and awards throughout his career. I'm super excited to welcome to the podcast Terry Stone.
Nothing in life is easy. My journey as an actor has been fucking hard. This is the sort of shit that people don't know what actors have to do.
As a young entrepreneur, what lessons would you pass on to yourself later on as a film creator and entrepreneur?
I think one of the biggest lessons I learned was if you're going to go into business, get a good lawyer, get a good account, and work with people smarter than you.
Does success look different from younger to where you are today?
I've never felt successful, right? Even though people would say, well, you run all these clubs. I think winning awards doesn't mean anything.
What's been your hardest point?
You can't make this for 250 grand. You need like 1.3 million. Where are we going to get fucking 1.3 million from? But then what happened was I had this chance meeting with this guy and he'd be like, listen, Till, I'll give you the money, but I want fucking rights.
Did you make profit on that movie? So welcome to the Lewis Allsopp podcast.
I'm loving the fact that we finally got it on.
I know, yeah. So we've got the Terry Stone podcast.
Yeah.
Is that
Terry Stone Connection, yeah.
And we've got the Lewis Allsopp connection. We're going to
connect it.
We can connect. Thank you very much for coming down.
No, I appreciate it. And, you know, as I mentioned when we were chatting earlier, you know, we are looking at doing a Terry Stone Dubai connection. So we are going to be...
this is the first one.
Well, this is the entry point, you know what I mean? We're doing it with a boss man, so that's good.
Well, look, I think, first of all, for anybody watching this, I've got like a interesting, not story, but I've interesting memories of you. You are probably one of my staple actors for the late 2000s eras, 2010s, 2012s. I always have these amazing memories of being hungover at home.
Hangover movies.
You're that guy. And watching Rise of the Footsoldier, 1, 2, 3, we're at 4, 5 at the moment. They are literally stuck in so many, including mine, British people's minds for like an incredible movie that you watch at home.
Right.
So thank you very much for creating it.
Do you know what's funny? Like when you actually go back over the years, when I sort of left school and I went into sales originally.
Yeah.
But what was interesting was I then fell into putting events on. So,
okay. Turbo Terry, weren't it?
Terry Turbo.
See, I know that.
So people were literally like, so you know, because there's a lot of people that went to my raves.
Yeah.
Gary's Nation, One Nation, which is still going now.
Yeah.
That don't connect the dots. That's the guy that plays Tony Tucker.
Really?
That now has the podcast. So I have people watching the podcast going, this guy looks familiar. Do you know what I mean? And then someone goes, yeah, you know, he's Tony Tucker in Rise of the Footsoldier, or he was Jet Spotting Once Upon a Time in London. So what happens is people don't always connect the dots. So it's quite funny when they do, because they go, well, you've been entertaining me for the last 4 years.
So let me get this straight. So Turbo Terry, yeah, which is on the scene, Garage Nation. I'm a huge garage fan as a whole. If you ask me, like, you go back to the days of Flowers and the banging tunes. When you were Turbo Terry, how does that correlate with movies? So in the movies specifically, let's just talk about Rise of the Footsoldier. You were solid doorman. Right. You ran the event. You were involved in everything circling around the dance floor. Yeah. Was that you in the day?
Well, so do you want me to tell you where I got Turbo Terry from?
Yeah. Oh, wow, really?
Because I was the worst breakdancer, body popper, whatever you want to call it, when I was 14.
Yeah.
And the breakdancer movie was out, I think it was 1984. And there was a guy in it called Turbo, who was amazing. And obviously, I was really fucking shit.
So they've just took the piss out.
So I was called Turbo Terry as the piss take.
It's like, you know, this was really crap at football. Oh, Ronaldo's here, like that.
Yeah. It was exactly like that. So I spent my sort of, childhood having fights with people for calling me Turbo Terry.
Oh, really?
When I got to 16,
you liked it.
I got to the point where I was like, I can't fucking shake this off. All right. So I'm either Terry Turbo or Turbo Terry. So I just thought,
you went with it.
When I actually started doing my events, I set up a marketing company called Turbo Promotions.
Yeah.
Because I thought,
you're all in. You're all in at that point.
I was a planner.
Yeah.
And then I did a magazine called The Scene Magazine, which started off as a little sort of 12-page black and white. Actually, it was 16-page black and white magazine.
Okay.
It ended up being 128-page full colour in Smiths. And then I was doing all these I was a hits out as well.
Yeah.
So...
Were you doing this in London?
Yeah, but back then what you got to remember is when the rave scene exploded in England, like it exploded, there was like 20 events a week and there was 10,000 here, 20,000 there, and everyone wanted to go. So if you had
touting that you needed,
but if you had the tickets, and what they used to do is they used to have a few record shops.
Yeah.
But I identified, probably like you did when you come to Dubai, you identified there's a gap.
Yeah.
And you fill it. So I was like, well, in Surrey, there is no ticket outlet, right? So my mate had a sports shop and they sold all the sort of, back then it was Troop, Fila, Adidas, all the latest trainers and tracksuits. And I went in there and I said, look, mate, I said, can I use your shop once a week to sell tickets from? And he went, yeah, if you want. And I said, but I want you to look after me because I want to bring probably 1,000 people in your shop and they're all going to buy stuff. And he went, you want to bring 1,000 people in my shop buying stuff? He said, you can have whatever you want. So
there you go. Fila, Shellsuits, the lot.
I was the best dressed kid in the rave scene. Do you know what I mean? I had all the gear and no idea. But as we went through it, you know, I got to the point, I think it was like 93. So I've been doing it for like 2.5, 3 years. And then people were going, look, you've got the magazine, you're doing the flyers, you're selling the tickets.
Yeah.
Why don't you put an event on? And I was like, yeah, why not? And there was a track back then called One Nation Under a Groove.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sing it because I'm a terrible singer. But
did you sing? You sang something?
No, but it was One Nation Under a Groove.
There you go.
There you go. But I'm not a good singer, right? Yeah. But if you've heard that church, and if you haven't, you Google it, you'll know it. Then I was like, what the lyrics were all about. One nation. Yeah. Doesn't matter where you're from. It's all about coming together as one. It's all about having fun.
And did you own that song?
Well, no, I didn't own the song, but I nicked the name because it was like One Nation Under a Groove. So I thought, I'm having that, so I trademarked it. And then
you could nick the song now. You've trademarked it. Go back, reverse.
Go back and say, listen,
that was actually my song.
But then they'd have gone, well, actually, it was out before you started promoting.
Yeah, but you trademarked it.
But when we did it, which was mad, was we did our first event for 3,000 people. Yeah. And I picked the worst date. I didn't know what I was doing, really. And someone said to me, look, if you're going to do this on this scale, you need protection because you are going to get turned over. So what I ended up doing was I used to...
When you say turned over, what do you mean? Like robbed or like robbed, beat up?
Yeah, robbed, beat up.
Really?
Yeah. They had to shoot you down for money, protection rackets.
Potential competitors and...
No, well, no, I mean, bear in mind, back in the 90s, a lot of people don't know this, but it was run by football hooligans and gangsters, right? So I'm this like 20-year-old kid from Surrey that's green, and I'm just going, I'll just put a rave on in the middle of all this, right? So where I lived in Camberley, I was right near Aldershot.
Okay.
And then after that first event, it broke even. Yeah. But I didn't lose money, so that was a good start.
Business.
The second one made money, so I was like, right, I'm on the go now. And what happened was I let the club do the door, and then they obviously nicked some of the money.
Of course.
So I was like, right, so I need to get someone I can trust. So I thought, if I put my mum in the cash box, if she nicks off me, she'll only nick a little bit.
Just enough for a pair of shoes.
But so I thought I'm going to bring my family into it.
Yeah. And
then a friend of mine in Aldershot, and I had this conversation after the one that was successful, saying that you are going to get targeted because you ain't got anyone with you and you're not associated with anyone, so you will get turned over. So a friend of mine bought a club in Aldershot.
Yeah.
And it was the only club with a 6 AM license.
Oh, wow.
So he phoned me up and he said, I'm seeing you doing raves. He said, why don't you bring it to my club, do a weekly club night, and you can do the Fridays and I'll pay you like so much a ticket. So he basically funded it all and allowed me just to put my name on it. So I had this club, and because it was the only one, we had 1,000 people in there like every Friday and Saturday.
And would you take money off the top of that for profit and things?
Yeah, so it was a pound a head. So if you imagine back then, bear in mind that before I was promoting, when I was on the dole, before I got into the rave scene, I was earning £40 a week.
Oh, wow.
So if you're now getting £1,000 on a Friday and £1,000 on a Saturday with no risk, you're getting a couple of grand a week. And back then, you're talking about 94. That was a lot of money.
Do you know what I find quite interesting? Listening to everything that you're saying, one of the most interesting things is when someone is watching this that's not, let's say, 35, 40 upwards, is someone saying that they use touts and flyers and things like that. In today's world, obviously, when I set up Allsopp, there was no property portal, so you couldn't go on like a Rightmove. There was literally a paper, and you'd send out letters to people. And you remember the franking machines that you used to send all that stuff? That's basically how I started. And I think it's so easy now to get into people's inboxes. Let's say this video, I could basically target this to a location. You say Camberley, where you're from. So Camberley, I could basically geo-fence a location now and advertise to everybody on Instagram and Facebook. I think marketing's changed so much for businesses from like the 90s to 2000s, which is wild. But where I think there's been a big change as well, it probably affects you the most, is the cinema streaming world. Do you think that's had a massive effect on business people who are making films, TV? Because obviously it's gone in mass, hasn't it? Like, I'm at the stage now where I was talking to my brother today, and I love films. I don't know what films are coming out anymore. Like, I don't even. There's no like teasers. You don't go to cinemas and see like this film, or you're the flyers just to get on the wall. Do you think that's massively affected people that in business?
Well, I think what you have to do is evolve, and with me, like when I was promoting then, you know, it's the ticket tax is the same now. If you want to get front seat
online
at a Beyonce gig, or you want a box for the Super Bowl, you ain't getting one unless you've got something cool.
Or you go to seatsy.com, which is my ticketing platform, where you can get all the best tickets for any worldwide event.
But that's what I'm saying. You need to know something. So if they can go through you, then. But that's what I'm saying. Now, and back then it was sort of like if you lived in the Thames Valley area, you had to get in a car and drive to Oxford or Reading to get your tickets. But if we were right in the centre, and like I would literally turn up, and it'd be really mad, like 'cause I had this little gold Austin Allegro, and I like pull up at the sports shop, be fucking 1,000 people in a car park, all waiting for me, and I walk in the shop. And they'd just be coming in, and I'd be like, how many do you want? 5, 10, selling them. And obviously, I'm getting 10% on each one. So if you send 1,000 tickets, and I was doing this when I was doing the clubs as well. So I was earning a lot of money from just selling tickets, having the club night, but I wasn't risking any money. So it was like completely risk-free. And then what happened after that was everyone would come in the shop, and then because you're in the shop, it's like, you got them trainers in a 10 of you. You got that in an extra lot, and then all of a sudden the guy's like literally at the end of the day, you go, my fucking shop's bare. So all the more stock.
When you're on that.
So
shop.
I'm his best mate, right? So I had a free shop. So all my and what that because a lot of people said to me, didn't you ever want to own a nightclub? And I always said no, because I like renting them, because you can just do your event and go. There's no activation. So everything I did was that sort of
It's a bit like lease, isn't it? You lease it, give it back, and there's no stress.
And it's a bit like going back to your question about the films. All that's happened with films, in the old days, a film would go in the cinema. It'd be 3 screens. And you walk in and see one, and you know, see the thing and go, do you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing that. I'll come back next week. And you go back next week, there'd be still the same things on. And what happened was everybody got greedy. So then they went, let's build multiplexes and let's put on 10 films instead of 3. And then what happened was the model that when I started making films, and we'll get to the sort of journey because we're just on the rave thing, but the actual filmmaking thing in the old days was a lot easier because, you know, you had a 6-month window when VHS cassettes come out, and you know it was sort of like it's in the cinema
days, weren't it?
It's in the cinema for 2 months, right? So you know you will go and watch my film. Do you know what I mean? Whereas now it's sort of like, you know, the film goes on. If it doesn't do what the cinema chains want, they go next. They don't give a fuck. You could spend 10 million and advertise it, and they just go next.
Do you reckon they track the performance on a weekly, monthly basis, and if not performing, it just goes? Or
So in the old days, like it was very expensive to do a theatrical release because you had to create what's called a print. And you had to go into the cinema and go, there's the print. And then you'd have to go, there's the posters. Then you'd have to do the campaign. So there was a lot of donkey work. But now you just upload it on a server, and if you go to a cinema, it's digital. On the walls, there's no posters, and in a way that's good because you used to get really annoyed because you send out fucking 500 posters to all the cinemas, and you go to cinema, there's no poster up. Where's the fucking manager? Where's the poster? And the guy's like, oh, I don't know, and you'd be just like, this is my fucking living, mate. Do you know what I mean? But they didn't give a fuck. But now they've circumvented that by you upload it, and then you've got the digital thing.
It's a process rather than hoping someone does.
Because unfortunately, a lot of people that work in these cinemas aren't the brightest people.
Of course.
They don't care.
But I always say this, like I don't get annoyed if somebody is swiping a till or making, no disrespect, making coffee, they make a mistake. It's because that's what they do. Like, they don't care about like over exceeding. Like, if I was working at Asda in a nicest way, I wouldn't be going out my way to, let Terry's here, get it through. I'm just gonna get it through, and that's the same thing that you'll find in most.
Be 5 o'clock.
Yeah, like, mate.
do this as slowly as possible.
Still getting my £5 an hour.
But then you know, after when I was doing the club, because it was the home of the British Army, you had like parachute regiment guys, SAS guys, ex-SAS guys on the door. So when I was doing these raves in London, because I was still doing them as well as the club, I just said to a few of them, do you want to come do a bit of work for me on the door? So we had a dog handler with 2 Dobermans, and we had some parachute regiment guys, some SAS guys. And as we went through it, we had about 10 guys, and they were basically mercenaries.
But would you see them proper scrap or not?
Oh, mate, if it went off, I mean, and it went off regularly because
Really?
people would come. And I mean, one time we was in East London, and this guy came up to the door, and he was like, I don't want to be searched. And it's like, everyone gets searched, mate. And then he goes, I'm going to fucking shoot you all.
Oh, God.
So then the guys brought the dog out, and he goes, if you don't fuck off, I'm going to set the dog on you. And he goes, I'll shoot your fucking dog. And he went like that. So the dog went,
oh, no.
And then he rang the police, and then the police come. And this was
no
now,
cameras either.
Now it would have been different, right?
Yeah.
But back then, the police turned up. You know, have you got a license for the dog? Yeah, it's an army dog. Okay, what happened? He threatened to shoot us. Oh, well, fuck him then, and just put him in an ambulance. They didn't care. But the thing is, unfortunately, back then there was no CCTV.
Yeah.
And people would pull out guns and weapons were illegal in England.
Yeah.
But people were carrying them. People were doing drive-by shootings in nightclubs, and no one ever
talks about
really, you know, weren't in the papers.
It's never amplified though. I mean, I talk about like war and things like that at the moment with like friends and family. We need a conversation. I try to avoid it, but people say, oh, there's a lot going on in the world. I was like, no, it's a lot more amplified. It's not that it wasn't happening.
100%.
Like, it's just now people can WhatsApp a story. You know, the sad situation from Anthony Joshua. Everyone saw the video of his friends and everything. I'm like, wow, like how's that gone from Nigeria and flew around the world? Everybody's seen that video in 10 minutes. Like,
it's like in the old days, like if I don't know if this happens here, it probably doesn't, right? But in England, if someone has a car crash, everyone just stands there and goes, or starts filming it. And you're like, what are you fucking doing? What's wrong with you? Right? And it's the same. If someone gets stabbed in the street, everyone's standing with phones filming it.
It's mad, isn't it?
It's like, what's wrong with you?
That's the way the world is now, unfortunately. Like,
but that's like what you were saying. That's why it's amplified, because there's always someone with a phone going like that.
Yeah, it's sort of in the, talking about the clubs. I don't go. I've been clubbing in like 5-6 years, but like when I was going out, phones didn't really exist. Now, like I see people, like someone was in Ibiza the other day, and there was this wicked DJ. I don't know what it was. I had this mad set on, and they were filming it, and it's just everybody, just like that. Everybody's phone. There was thousands of people. Like that is not a night out for me.
They're not in the moment. And for me, whether you're eating a nice meal, whether you're out with friends, whether you're watching a movie, it's an experience, and you don't need your phone.
I've got a big problem though. So I'm massive film. I love films, love series. If I'm sitting at home, I have to have all the lights off, and I've got to get my phone away, because if I'm watching, if it is a good film, I'm addicted to doom scrolling, and it's terrible. And I'm just like, okay, put it down, and it's a terrible addiction.
Stand back away from the phone.
I'm gonna have to put it in a box or something. I actually uninstalled it off my phone last week for about 5 or 6 days, and I had to put it back on because people were tagging me in for work. Obviously, I need it for work. And my rule was, I'm going to put it on my iPad. When I get home, I'll do it. But I'm on the go trying to do stuff. So I'm like, fuck, I'm back on it again. And then I'm scrolling again. I'm doom scrolling.
But I mean, what I've done for social media, how old are you now, Lewis?
39.
So I'm 55. So I'm in that sort of old fact category. But unfortunately, I've never really liked social media. I do it because I have to. But
it's a job for me as well.
But I've always looked at it, and I've always thought, you know, it is very easy just to sit on your phone. Yeah. Right. And that's something that you have to be mindful of. And that's what I've basically done. And it's actually quite funny because, you know, I did the clubs for 10 years. I built, I mean, Gary's Nation, One Nation was super brands. Like, they was big as Cream. We were doing everything around the world. Ibiza, Iron Apple. We was in LA, Canada. We were doing 20 events a month in England.
Were you involved with Tony from O Beach? Because there was a crossover with that.
He was house. So Tony Truman was always house. I was what you call urban music. I was drum and bass, garage. I wasn't, you know,
show la ama.
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't white. It wasn't sort of white people wearing like furry hats and glow sticks. Mine was a little bit. It was a bit of a darker.
Yours,
you know, it was drum and bass, jungle, UK garage. I mean, what we did, we pride ourselves on was, and one of the good things that I thought the club scene in England did was it brought everyone together.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter if he was a Christian, if he was a Catholic, if he was Jewish, if he was a Muslim, if he was white, if he was black. Everyone just come, had a good time. You could be rich, middle class, poor, and everyone's going, "You're right, mate." There was no trouble.
Yeah.
But then what happened was, because you had 5,000 people rocking up to Brixton Academy, or 20,000 people in Wembley,
5,000 problems.
all the people over the road in Stonebridge, you're like, "Oh, there's 20,000 people there. We're going to earn some money." So that was the stuff on the ground, and the police couldn't cope with it. Yeah. So we had to sort of have our own team to deal with the problems. But over the 10 years, we won Kiss FM Best Club Promoter. We won the Knowledge Awards Best Promoter for Gary's for drum bass. So I won all the awards, and I got to the end of it where I was standing here and we used to do mad stuff. So we had a Queen lookalike come to one of our raves, right? So at 1 o'clock in the morning in East London, and by then it's like going off, right? So there's a queue of about 1,000 people. There's 2,000 people inside, and then this Bentley pulls up, and then the Queen gets out, and you can see everyone in the queue just going like,
"What is going on here?" Yeah.
Elizabeth's
here.
Right, bear in mind, there's no social media then, right?
Yeah.
So we got her in. She's walking up and down the queue going, "Is this the One Nation rave party?" And people were like, "Yeah, yes." And then we got her inside, and then we said, "Look, where's some security with them?" We said, "Look, can you go around giving out these CDs?" So these people in the dance floor going like that, and she tapped her on the shoulder, and they look around the Queen's
there, go, "What is going on here?"
He's just like, so
I've had too many shots.
Fucking Queen, the Queen's here. And then
the good thing about that, will tell everybody will say the Queen was at One Nation.
But we got her on the stage, we stopped the music, and she did a speech going, "I just want to say a big respect to the One Nation."
If that was me and I was in the club, I'd be like, Am I seeing that?
That was the first one, right? We had Ali G, because back then, Sacha Baron Cohen's dancers on the Ali G show danced for me.
Okay.
So we used to get these like celebrities turn up, but we also used to have like these lookalikes. We had Posh and Bex, David Beckham and Victoria Beckham. We did like mad shit. And then what happened after that night, like you had 3,000 people all going home going, "Fucking hell, the Queen was at One Nation." How the fuck did you tell him pull that off?
So how do you take that from there to then not being involved in it?
Well, so I did it for a number of years. So I was always, so everything I did in the event space was always first class. It was always the best sound system, the best lights, the best lasers. We'd build stages and we'd do themes. So we'd have the United States of drum and bass, or we'd have the United Colours of One Nation. So we do all these like twists on things that were in the public domain. So obviously at the time it was United Colours of Benetton. Yeah. Right. So we just come up with these little things, and then people would be like, "That's really cool." Yeah. And then you'd have like all these different people, like which were ravers that we took pictures of. Yeah. And they were the flyer. Okay. And then when we did Wembley, we had the Wembley Arena thing, and it was called Once Upon a Time in Wembley. Okay. So we just used to do mad stuff. And on that night, we had this New York. We flew in all these break dancers, and they were doing all these break dance on the stage, and we had this New York City set with all graffiti on. We had a police car on the stage with the light flashing. Yeah. And I remember at midnight, I said, "I'm going to blow the police car up on the stage." And the DJ's playing, and then it just went bomb, and he just jumped off the thing. He's like, "We're under attack, we're under attack." God. I was going, "It's just part of the show. Calm down, get back up there." But we do mad stuff like that. But I think what happened towards the end, in England, there was a change in the music and the licensing, and a lot of the really good clubs that we were using. Basically, if you own a club and somebody takes drugs or they get drunk and they fall over and die in your club,
you're liable.
They can just basically take your license away. So a lot of these club people were like, and it happened to Fabric, right? But they managed to get it reopened. But I think the authorities, the council and the police were like, "It's enough now."
I had friends in Coventry that had nightclubs, and he just said he had murders all the time with the government, and basically they were just coming in, random checking if there's any injury or anything. They were trying to revoke the license.
They were searching the doorman because they thought the doorman was selling drugs. They were hitting up the owners. And I think what happened, if you own a bit of real estate, and you're sitting here thinking like, this could all be stripped away from me tomorrow, and then someone comes in and goes, "Do you want to sell your club, mate? I want to redevelop it in the flats." Yeah. "Well, what you can give me 3 times what it's worth."
There you go.
Where do I sign, mate? So a lot of the clubs got redeveloped. Yeah. So the club started to go, and then what happened was with the regulation become like really like not tolerant, and the problem at that time was that this grime music come in, and that started off, and then when that started off, unfortunately. You had a really bad crowd of people that would be shooting and stabbing each other. And then literally you'd have the council saying, "If you want to put a Gary's Nation event on, got to send us a lineup. So you send them a lineup, you can't have him, you can't have her, you can't have him. And I'm like, you can't.
They can have that much control.
You can't tell me how to promote my parties. And it's like, well, we fucking shut you down. So you either play the game or we shut you down. And So Solid Crew got banned from, because they'd always bring trouble. Yeah. They got banned from performing anywhere in the UK. So it got to the point where I'm thinking, I've got my hands tied behind my back. If I can't put on the acts and the artists that I want.
You're at least so solid for 3 minutes though. They got one song, didn't they?
Well, yeah, they have. But what they
do you know the songs? I can tell you.
Oh no, that's the word.
That's the one.
And 21 seconds ago.
21 seconds. Yeah, that's the one.
So a funny So Solid bit of trivia for you.
Yeah.
So Mega Man, MC'd at one of my raves back in the day, and Romeo separately. Yeah. And then I said to Romeo, I said, I think you're really good, mate. I want to put you on the fly for my New Year's Eve party. And he said, oh, can I bring Mega Man? I said, I know Mega Man. Right. And he goes, oh, great. He said, here's my card. Because he wasn't even booked. He just jumped on a mic. So on his card, it said, you've been chosen. MC Romeo.
Oh, wow.
Right? And I'm like, you hitting on me? Do you know what I mean? He went, no, that's for the girls, but you got my number, right? So they turned up on New Year's Eve and they said, oh, we're launching a group called So Solid. And I said, what's it about? And he said, well, there's us two. Yeah. There's a girl called Lisa Mafia. There's another guy called MC Harvey. Yeah. And we've got these DJs and we're going to do, the DJs going to play back to back and we're all going to rap and sing over the music. And I went, that's pretty cool. Yeah. And that was when Pay As You Go Cartel and all these groups started to come out, these sort of urban grime groups, what do you want to call them. And what was interesting about So Solid is they'd done the studio stuff and he said, oh, we've just done this little track, right? We think it's going to be quite good. We just signed to this big record label. And I'm thinking, these kids are going to blow up. Yeah. So I said, well, I've got this club in Iron Apple called the Emporium and I want to book you for the whole summer. And he was like, sweet. He said, give us 500 quid or grand. It was like peanuts then, do you know what I mean? So they just flew in and they were a headline and they went to #1. So you imagine in
what year was that?
I think it was 99 or 90. It was 99 or 2000. It was one of those years, but literally we started off in Iron Apple in a small club.
I think I was in Iron Apple 04, 05, around that seat.
So we was out.
Remember Titanic and the Castle Club and is it Castle Club?
Castle Club, yeah.
Yeah, I used to all them places. Bring back memories.
But we sold up in 2003, but we ran Iron Apple probably for like 4 years, and we got to the point where there's a club called Pizzazz. Yeah, it was the biggest club in Iron Apple, and we had it twice a week, 6,000 people a week. I mean, it's mad, right?
That wouldn't happen now in Iron Apple, would it?
No, because what happened was, again, the locals got upset because all the people that were coming to the garage island were, taking drugs and stabbing each other, and obviously
us Brits again.
The Cypriots were like, we don't like this. We don't like drugs. We don't like. Yeah. So they were very like, we don't like this. And they said, we don't want any more garage. We don't want any more promoters. And then it's kind of, I think if you go there now, there's still bits of it, but...
I went there about 5 years ago for one of my friends. It's like stag do. And we're all like mid-30s at that point. And I was like, we'll go. Like, it's not going to be great, but we'll see how we get on. And we went there and it was like dead. Like, It was like 11 o'clock at night. It wasn't like we were younger doing fish balls. We went for a steak and things like that. Right. Then went to the strip. You're like, I don't have a drink. And it's like, everyone's like, do you want a balloon? No, I don't want a balloon. Are you walking down the street and it's just like empty? It might not be like that now.
But the thing was, like, when we started doing the bigger stuff, we were invited to dinner. Yeah. And the guy was like, this is who you're with. And there's the mayor, there's the head of the police. So it was like the top level. Yeah. But then when at the top level, they, because look, they liked the money and they liked it being busy, but they didn't like the violence and the drugs because they were anti it. And they were very like, we don't want this here. But unfortunately, people that are just turning up, from a council estate on holiday, they don't know the rules locally. So they misbehave. So they think, well, it's all right in London. What's the big deal? Yeah. But then obviously they didn't like it. And they used to like beat them up badly.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, I always have that thing about foreign Greek guards and things like that. They're a lot rougher. So let's get back to that. So you went to Iron Apple, did that. How did you become an actor from doing all of that?
So going back to why I cashed out in 2003 was because it became hard to put events on because the violence was getting out of hand. In the last year of me putting events on, I had a gun pulled on me 3 times.
Oh, wow.
And I'd met my wife, and she used to run, like, China White, all the nice clubs in the West End. Yeah. So she was dealing with, rich people's, having bottles of champagne and vodka. And I was doing a warehouse party in East London with 3,000 rock.
Contrast, very big contrast.
So she'd never been to a rave. So she came to a rave and she was like, is this how you go to work? You have to wear bulletproof vests and you have to hire like mercenaries to look after you. And I went, well, unfortunately, that's what I do. And she went, you need to find another job.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, do you know what? I'm right at the top. Why don't I cash out? So I literally went around to everyone and said, listen, I'm cashing out.
Yeah.
If you want to buy the brands, I'll sell them. So I sold them all pretty much within a couple of weeks. And I'm sitting on, a pile of cash. And I said to my missus, I said, I'm going to have a year off. I'm just going to go on holiday, have fun.
Yeah.
No phones ringing, no stress, no aggravation, no bulletproof vest. I'm just going to enjoy myself. So after about 6 months, I fucking got bored. And then I was like, I need to do something. I can't just sit around.
Yeah.
I'm 30. I can't retire at 30. So what I ended up doing was somebody just rung me out of the blue and said, do you want to be in a film? And I was like, well, I love films, yeah, why not? So I've turned up on his film set and they're filming and the guy goes, oh, stand over there. So I'm standing over there like that. And then they're like, cut, do another thing. Yeah, cut. And I'm
Were
like,
you acting at this point, just standing?
no, I'm just standing there. So I said to the guy, I said, what am I actually doing in this film? He said, well, you just stand there, you're in the background. I said, mate, fuck this. I said, I'm not a fucking extra. I said, if you want me in a film, I'll be in a film, but I need to say something. Yeah. So he said, what do you want to say? And I said, well, I don't know, what do you want? Give me a scene. Yeah. And there was a world kickboxing champion there. Yeah. He goes, can you just mug him off? I went, fuck.
Oh, yes, you got that and then lost that.
Absolutely. So I just literally give it to this geezer for about 10 minutes and I was all laughing. And I'm going, I can't believe you speak to him like, no one would fuck his better. And I said, well, I've known him for years, but, we're just having a bit of banter. He's worked for me on the door. Yeah. Right? So we're just having a bit of banter. And the guy said, you know what? You can be in the film. Right? Yeah. And it was largely improvised. Yeah. So a lot of the scenes were like, literally, this is what we're doing. Let's go with it and see what happens.
Had you had any acting experience at all?
No, but so I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah. Right. So long story short, I said to the director, I said, can I have my scenes? And he went, yeah. And in that film, there was people like Scott Welsh, who was a British boxing champion. Yeah. But he'd just been in Snatch with Brad Pitt. There was a guy called Andy Beckwith who'd been in Snatch. Yeah. There was people in Lock, Stock. There was the guy from EastEnders, Nick Cotton.
Yeah.
John Altman was in it. Yeah. Billy Murray, who was in The Bill for years. Yeah. He was in it. So we had this interesting, like, proper people that have been in proper things. And I'm talking to someone, I'm going, how do you become an actor then? They said, well, you've already fucking done it. I said, you've not been to drama school. And the hardest thing is getting your first job. You've done your first job. Yeah. So what I would do is get some pictures done. Yeah. And then get your scenes. Yeah. And then cut up a show reel. So I did that. And then I just thought, you know what? I need to get an agent. So there's a book called Contacts. It may not exist now, but it did then. And it was like that. And it had about 500
yellow pages for contacts.
So me being me, I just thought I'm going to write to every single one of these fuckers and just say, look, I'm looking for representation. Give me a job, basically, and send my headshot. And I've got a show reel available on request. So sent them all out. I think 10 people out of them 500 messaged me back and said, you're not an interested look. Come in, have a meeting. So I went at the meetings. A couple of them I didn't like, but there was like 5 I did like. So I rung up Billy Murray, who was really good friends with him, and I said, Bill, what do I do with this stuff? Because, I've got these 5 offers to join these agencies. He said, well, that's the biggest one, so go with them. So I went, all right, sweet. And then literally within about 2 weeks, I did a bit in My Family with Robert Lindsay. Yeah. Then I got EastEnders. Yeah. And there was
EastEnders, were you?
2 episodes and there was a big storyline. This
you
is
could be like Phil and Grant's like brother.
Well, I could have been, but I was terrorising. So if you're an EastEnders fan, back then there was a guy called Andy Hunter, who was a criminal that basically nicked Cat Slater off of Alfie.
Oh, wow.
So they were going to get married. So the idea is that me and my mate were terrorising Alfie and the Queen Vic. We ended up going to the church, and it was a little bit, there was a lot of references to famous films in that, but it was fun. And look, back then, that's when 20 million people watched it.
Yeah, exactly. That's prime time.
Yeah, so that was my first sort of break in television. But
she's back in it now, Kat.
Oh no, I've actually, I don't watch it. I watch it at Christmas. That's the only time I watch it.
I don't watch live TV, I just don't watch it anymore. So if it pops on, I'll be like, oh, there you go.
But it's it's the same thing, Yeah. Somebody's dying, someone's in front.
Bit of murder.
Someone's sleeping with someone's wife, and it's the same old thing. But it's an institution, EastEnders, and I was really grateful. That was my first television job. Yeah. And then after that, I did The Bill, and I got to the point where I was doing a little bit of theatre stuff. I'd actually took on some training. Yeah. So I actually went to this drama school thing for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
And my wife actually used to laugh. Like when I walk out the door, she'd be like...
fitting in with drama school.
She'd be like, you're like having a midlife crisis. You're like a lovey, with a fucking satchel. She said, you used to be the king of clubs. Now you're like wandering around being a thespian in a tree. So I did that. And after a year, I think I'd earned $8,000. And I was thinking, this isn't, you know, I thought I was going to Hollywood, not fucking Cricklewood, you know. So I thought I need to do something here.
Yeah.
And I was with a friend of mine and we were just having dinner. And he went, how's the acting going? I said, do you know what? When I told my wife, she asked me if I was taking drugs, right? And she said to me, go and look at yourself in the mirror. You know, you're not Brad Pitt. And I was like, thanks. but I had no support from her. She was really fucked off because she was just about to give birth to my first.
So you need to bring the money in, and
so she was a bit like, you know, this money's not gonna last forever. You know, this is fucking stupid. I thought you was going to do something sensible, like set up a business or get into real estate. But then I just had this conversation with this guy, and he sort of said to me, and I said, it's not going well. I said, I've only earned $8,000 this year. I said, this is not sustainable. I said, I need maybe I'll buy the brands back and start promoting again.
Yeah.
And he said, look, you made that jump. He said, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I want to be in movies, right?
Yeah.
And he said, well, you make one. He said, you put on events for 20,000 people. How hard can it be? And I was like, that actually sounds like a good bit of advice. I said, I don't mind putting some money. I said, would you put some money in? He went, I'll put some money in. So I left that meeting with some money, and then I literally rang all my mates up and said, listen, we're going to make a movie. Do you want to just chuck 10, 20 grand in? So that's how I got the money for my first film.
which was
One Man and His Dog.
okay.
But it was a dog.
Yeah.
But because we didn't really know what we was doing, we still managed to get 25% of our money back. So it wasn't a disaster where we didn't get anything back. But then what happened after that was people that I knew from the club scene started to reach out. So one of them said to me, there's not been a British Boys in the Hood.
Yeah.
He said, let's make it. Right? He goes, we should do this. He goes, we'll smash it. Right? And he goes, I've got all the stories. So literally I'd already started working with Julian and William Gilby, who created and wrote the first Rise of the Footsoldier, which obviously led to the whole franchise. So I already was working with them on a different film, and I rang them out the blue, and I said, look, it's a bit of a weird one, but I said and they're both like Hooray Henry, so they went to private school. They're part of the Gilby Jim family, right? Okay. So I said, would you like to write a black gangster film, right? I said, it's completely out of your comfort zone, but I said, all of my friends have got these stories, and it's going to be like a British Boys in the Hood. And they go, we can write anything. So I got in the room with these guys. They come out with all these stories. And then when we started doing the casting process, we had like Dizzy Rascal in it playing the dealer. Kano, who was like one of the leads, Top Boy.
Kano's ledge.
He did an armed robbery in the film. So we had all these like what I call goats of that world, like back then. And are still now in the movie. So, and we also had people like Vass Blackwood. Who
This was called which movie now?
Rolling with the Nines.
Okay, yeah.
So that was what the film was called. We had Vass Blackwood in it. It was from Lock, Stock.
Yeah.
Robbie G from Snatch. We had Jason Fleming, who's worked with Brad Pitt. He's been loads of stuff. So we had this unbelievable cast. And I was playing the sort of corrupt cop in it.
Yeah.
So
were you a main figure?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we did that film, got BAFTA nominated, won Rainbows.
Wow, okay.
And that really put me on the map. And then I was at Ascot, with my wife, and there used to be this little Italian restaurant. So we've like walked down from Ascot Racecourse to this restaurant, and as we walked in, Carlton Leach was on the door.
Yeah.
You know what? He said, I saw you Rolling with the Nines. He goes, what a great movie, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
He said, you know, what about doing my movie? And he had a
So Carlton Leach, by the way, so he's the original doorman that was he was the original guy in Rise of the Footsoldier.
Yeah, so
that was the story is based on.
So Carlton Leach wrote a book called Muscle, and it was about the inner city firm, which is, for anyone who doesn't know, it's the West Ham football hooligan firm. Yeah. So he was with them. Then he started doing door work, debt collecting, and then he got involved with the Essex Boys. Yeah. Then he got involved with Nigel Benn. So he's got a bit of a mad story.
So is he actually, because Nigel Benn's son is in the story, Conor Benn's in one of the films.
Yeah.
Is the original actor, the guy that he met on the door, was he in the film?
Well, he was as an extra, but the story about the guy who played him was Ricky Harnett. So So what happened was he basically said to me, he said, look, I've got this book about my life. Yeah. You should make it into a film. And when you're at an Italian restaurant and the doorman says, make a book about my life, you think, fucking hell. Like, because once people know you're in the movies, everyone's got a story. Everyone's, this is the best fit. You make a film about it. They think that you just wave your wand and the film just gets made. Yeah. But the actual reality is you've got to then, if you like the book, you've then got to get the rights. Yeah. So then I said to him, look, this is a fucking great book. Yeah. And I said, I need the rights, so I'll buy the rights. And I said, I'll pay for what they call development. So I got Gillian William Gilby again to write the script, and we had this great script. Yeah. And then we was like, right, let's cast it. So Ricky had been in 28 Days Later. Yeah. Let's get him as Colton. Yeah. Let's get Craig Fairbrass as Pat Takes. He looks like him.
He's the man.
Right.
Craig Fairbrass is the man.
And there's a guy called Roland Manukian. Yeah. Who played Craig Rolfe. Okay. And then Colton's going, you got to play Tony. Tony's my best mate. You got to play Tony. So I said, all right, sweet. So we had a package. And then we got Frank Harper, who was in Lock, Stock. Yeah. Billy Murray. So we had what we thought
had a team there, yeah.
An amazing cast. Went around with it. People are going, you got the fucking bloke from EastEnders. No, these gangster films.
You're saying Craig Fairbrass?
Yeah, just a bloke from EastEnders. These films are fucking, no one wants to watch these fucking films. You know, you're too late, mate. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not fucking too late. This is a fucking great movie. Yeah. And I had 2 years of knocking on doors, trying to get the money, and people saying no.
How much of them days would you need to raise to make that?
So I raised 250,000, right? Fair.
And that covers salaries, production, everything.
But the problem with it was really ambitious. I mean, you know, you had a Range Rover scene where you had people getting their faces blown off that you had to recreate 3 different times. So there was all the prosthetics. There was like, it was a period film set in the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s. So you had to it was the 80s and 90s, right? But you got 2 decades. So obviously all the clothes change. Yeah. All the, you know, silly things like road signs, the cars. When you actually got into it, it was like, you can't make this for 250 grand. Yeah. You need like 1.3 million. And it was like, where are we going to get fucking 1.3 million from? Do you know what I mean? We've only made 2 films. Yeah. But then what happened was I had this chance meeting with this guy in Essex who was a big West Ham fan. And he used to have a big cigar and he'd be like, listen, Till, I'll give you the money, but I want the fucking rights. And I went, oh, wow. All right, well, you give me the money, you can have the fucking rights. I just want to make the movie. So I've left the meeting thinking he ain't going to fucking come up with 1,050,000. Yeah. And he fucking did, right? And he literally was like, right, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to start, we're going to keep the cast as you've got it. Yeah. Because I did the whole thing. So it was my cast, my script, the whole thing.
Sure, baby.
And then, you know, it went. And then like everyone's going, this is unbelievable. We had every distributor from Sony, Universal.
This is once it's ready.
They all wanted it, right? So
because they'd watched it and seen it.
And they've watched the trailer.
Yeah, just the trailer.
And I went, this is fucking, we got to buy this.
But right? you gave the rights away or sold the rights.
Yeah, but this is where the problem started, right? So what happened was they went, fuck me, we've never had this amount of interest in any films. This is like going to go. And they picked the deal with a company called Optimum Elysium, which is now Studio Canal. Okay. And their deal was, we give 300 grand up front, just for the UK rights, and we're going to put $1 million behind the film at the cinema. We're going to do a big theatrical release. So we're thinking, fuck me, and I'm thinking, great, I'm leading the movie.
He's rejected it.
This is great. No, I'm thinking this is going to be fantastic. So then they've done the deal, right? And then the film's come out the cinema, right? Didn't do any fucking business. Like 140 grand it took at the cinema, and they spent $1 million on it. Okay. And you only get 25% of that. So you're sitting there thinking, I'm in a fucking massive hole here for like 900 and something grand.
And the West Ham guy that fronted it, did he want his money back or not?
No. Once you've signed the rights, you've signed the rights, okay. Right? But we were all devastated because we were like, fucking hell, we thought this was going to be the big one. You know, we had the big theatrical release, we had the Leicester Square premiere, and we was all down in the dumps. But little did we know that it was going to become one of the biggest fucking cult films of all time. Yeah. So when it came out on DVD, it sold 1 million DVDs.
Oh wow.
Right? So it outsold the Hollywood movies. So we're sitting there going, fuck me. So if we hadn't have had that massive hole, then we'd have made a lot of money, right? But the thing is, everyone said to me, that film was always going to be a DVD movie, right? The theatrical was a waste of money. What you should have done, and this is all great hindsight, right? But what you should have done is put it on 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cinemas, put 100 grand behind it, and then just smashed it on DVD, and then you'd have made fucking millions out of it. Yeah. So, but you know, we didn't know that at the time.
Did you make profit on that movie?
Yeah, but the thing is, it's took time to get there because of the massive hole. Okay. In that thing. So after that, then we had another script that I owned, and it was called Doghouse. Okay. Which Sonny ended up picking up.
Is Doghouse the one with Danny Dyer in?
Danny Dyer, Stephen Graham. It, it was good. I mean, that was a great movie. Yeah. And it was actually quite funny because there was a scene where the soldiers had to get away from the zombies. Yeah. Right. And we had to dress up as women. So the director, being all artistic, said, you know, we've got to make sure you walk like women. You know, we've got to get this right. So they sent me to a tranny school in Brighton, right? So I was like, this has got to be a fucking wind up. And they're like, no, you've got to go.
Yeah.
So I've gone down to Brighton, and there's this guy, and he's like, hey, mate, I'm going to teach you how to become a lady. He goes, you've got to put these heels on, and they've got all these different heels, right?
Yeah.
So he says, you've got to learn to walk in the 2-inch heels first. But then I ended up getting up to 6 inches, right? But it's just like silly little things. So it's like when you're on the set, you say you got to work, you don't walk, you sashay and all this. So, and he said, look, take the shoes with you and practice at home, and then bring them back after.
I bet your missus loved you. And you
no, because what happened was I went home and she didn't know where I'd gone, right? Because so I walked in and I put the heels in for laughs, so she can hear me like, and she was like, hello? And I'm like, right, babe. She goes, who's with you? I went, no one. She goes, what's that? I'm sure I could. I said, yeah, I'm wearing some heels. And she's, why are you wearing heels? I said, because I'm learning to be a lady. But it was just funny. But this is the sort of shit that people don't know what actors have to do, you know, to get in the moment and to deliver the performance. But after that, I decided to set up my own company. Yeah. And to date, I've made 35 films.
And your most successful film?
Do you know something? It's weird. Like, I did a documentary about Frank Sinatra.
Really?
And that was the most successful film we made. Because
is that in watches or revenue or?
No, just that, because Netflix came and just went, we want that. And what happened was, because I'm a massive Sinatra fan, I literally was sitting there going, I really want to do this film, right, about Sinatra, because he was turning 100. Yeah. Obviously he's dead, but it was a massive sort of moment where you think, well, if he was alive, he'd be celebrating his 100th birthday. Yeah. Let's do a puff piece, right? So we had Frank Warren, we had Alice Cooper, we had Sir Tim Rice, we had some crazy people that come on the thing, and then we tracked down this guy who was a mob associate in LA, and he used to be Frank's guy, right? So he said, oh yeah, me and Frank, blah blah blah. He said, I've got loads of stories, right? So we flew into LA to meet him, and he was saying, oh, it's so funny. He goes, Frank wanted to be part of the guys, but he was always just a singer that they liked having around him because he was famous. And he went to this funeral of one of the guys, and Don Rickles was carrying the coffin. Sinatra's on the other side, his mate's behind him. And as they're carrying the thing, Frank goes, fuck me, this is really heavy. And he goes, how do you think we get rid of the bodies, Frank? Oh, fuck. So it was, but it was comical. It was funny, you know. I don't know if any of it was true, but it was just very funny, and it was people that you wouldn't expect talking about Frank Sinatra, talking about him.
And that's your most successful film.
And what was mad was there was I don't know what his name was, but there was he's like won 3 or 4 Oscars. Yeah. And there was an official Sinatra estate 100 celebratory film with an Oscar when they spent millions on it. Yeah. And their one like smashed theirs, and we didn't spend that much on it. Right. So that was.
Is that because of Netflix's outreach?
Filming Netflix is they can write you a check as big as they want. So and going back to earlier on when you was talking about how the business has changed. Like now, if Netflix gets excited about something you've got, they write out big checks. Same with Amazon. Same with Apple.
Same thing with Jake Paul, Tyson. It was the most watched boxing event ever 100%. Because they have the subscribers. It's a bit like I said off camera. If you are a celebrity now and you've got a YouTube channel or a following, you don't need to think you're just in the box of being a footballer. Ronaldo is actually the best marketer. Say Kim Kardashian, she's not a Kardashian anymore. She has Skims, which is now collab with Nike. Right. And I think if you drop into Netflix and you've got the audience, you could basically take anything because the audience is there.
I mean, if someone said to you, Lewis, you know, you've created this great bit of content, no one's going to fucking see it. Yeah. Right? You might get your money back, right? But if you give it to us, it's going out fucking 300 million people worldwide, and we'll pay you a fuckload of money for it. You're going to take it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So that's the model. But what's interesting is over the years, obviously I've seen the change, and the change now is that there was this really crazy thing where there always was a window. So in the old days, I said it was 6 months. Yeah. And then it got condensed to 3 months.
Is this to make the movie?
No, to release it. So, in the old days, if you put something in the cinema, you couldn't release anything on home entertainment for 6 months.
Yes.
So now it's 3 months, right? But then with COVID, what happened? It changed again because literally
they need content, don't they?
Well, the cinemas were all shut. So when they reopened, the studios all went, well, look, we don't even know if anyone's going to fucking go to cinema. So we can't risk having 3 months where we can't monetize our films. So we need to reduce the window to a month.
Yeah.
So how that helped producers was we put a movie in the cinema and it'll still be playing in the cinema when we release it on, they used to do this thing, which they still do, called premium VOD.
Yeah.
Which means that
Video on demand.
it's in the cinema, but you can also watch it at home.
Yeah.
But you pay like 20 quid for it.
That's why. So I'll pay like £19 to rent for a day.
So that's that's the premium VOD.
Yeah.
And then after a couple of months, then it goes on the normal thing where it's like $9.99.
Yeah.
You can rent it for $4.99. So that's how the model's changed. And then you used to then go on pay TV, which would be like Sky or one of the subscription platforms, and then the SVOD, which would be Netflix, Amazon, would be last. But what's happened now is it's like whoever writes you the biggest check, you sell it to them.
Well, let's say, for instance, your movie, the Frank Sinatra one. 10 years time, will you make any money from that?
Yeah, I mean,
does it work on views, subscription? How does it work?
So the beautiful thing about movies, right, is you can make the best movie in the world with the best actors, the best directors, the best writer, the best composer. Does no business, right? And you could just get lucky. Like Rise of the Foot Soldier, if you actually sat down with that script, who's in it? Nobody. Yeah. There's a bloke who was in Lock, Stock, 7 years ago.
It just worked.
But the thing is, it works. It was a good film.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think if you make and anyone you speak to in Hollywood or in Bollywood or anywhere in the world, it's all about having a good script. If you ain't got a good script, it don't matter if you've got fucking Robert De Niro in it, it's going to be shit. Right? So the script's where it's at. So if you've got a good script and you get the right cast and you get the right director, I mean, there's a lot of moving parts, but the good thing is, if you've created a bit of IP, you own it forever. So
how would that work then with your film?
Yeah, so if in 10 years' time it's still generating money, if Amazon want to rent it, because what they do, they don't buy it, they license it. So they do it for a period. So they might say, well, give us it for 6 months, give us it for 2 years.
And if they want it again, they'll renew the lease.
And then they either renew it or they go, there it is back. But then you can go back to the market and go, right, we'll do this, we'll do that. So
have you got any films coming up that you've made previously that is coming out of like a video? So for instance, question, Rise of the Foot Soldier, use that as an example, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's never been on Netflix.
No, they've all been on Netflix.
Was it on? Was it? I thought it was on.
No, so
Amazon. Was it on Amazon?
So to finish off the Rise of the Foot Soldier story, because obviously we jumped a few bits. The first one, obviously, because it didn't work, because it bombed at the cinema. Yeah. Everyone was like, fucking hell. And there's loads. Full Monty was the same.
Yeah.
Went to America, blew up, come back here, become a big movie. So just because it doesn't work at the cinema doesn't mean that it's not going to work, right? But the thing is, like in hindsight, if we'd have said to the distributor, we don't want to spend $1 million, fuck the cinema. We know that, because Football Factory come out in, I think it was 2004. Yeah. And that done 1 million DVDs. Yeah. So it was like, this is the...
It was the era, wasn't it? That type of movie is perfect for the home goers. Like,
there's only 3 movies in that period of time, 4, that actually smashed it.
The Business.
There was The Business, Football Factory. Yeah. There was Layer Cake. Yeah. And there was Rise of the Foot Soldier. They were the 4 movies. You can talk about Snatch and Lock, Stock, and that was early 2000s. Yeah. This is like, sort of 2004, 2005, 2007, I think.
Them guys in that era, let's say Tamer Hassan and Danny Dyer, are you friends with them out of film? Or
I mean, the thing is, like with all these films, see, lots of people think that when you do a film with some actors, you all meet up and you're all mates and that. You're not. It's like you literally work on a film set for 6 weeks. You're all best mates. You fuck off, they fuck off. You don't see.
They got their own lives anyway, haven't they? They're doing their thing.
You might see him in 2 years' time, or you might be at a party and they go, "Oh no, mate."
When was the last time you messaged Craig Fairbrass?
I think I messaged him about coming on the podcast.
Oh, really?
And I was winding him up. So I always like winding him up, so because he bites, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
is he as angry in real life as he is in?
He hasn't got a sense of humour, but obviously
he's just a big beast, isn't he? He's a big old beast.
Well, like I said in the film, he's a 17-stone Yeti. Yeah. But he used to work on the doors with Lenny McLean. Yeah. He's always played those tough guy roles, and he is a tough guy in real life. He's not pretending. Do you know what I mean? So, and I think that's probably why those films done so well, because after the first one was the benchmark, and then what happened was Carlton decided to go off and make his own one, but he'd already given the rights up, so he couldn't do that legally, so they took it off him. Yeah. And then they released it, and it was terrible. Right?
Oh, they really. What was it called?
Rise of the Foot Soldier 2. But it was.
Oh, so you bought the Rise of the Soldier 1, and then
Then what happened was he then decided, well, I'm going to go off and do my
what
own
was the
thing.
2 one? What was the storyline on the price?
Don't waste your time.
I can't even remember.
It's
They
just,
did a Marbella one, didn't they? With,
yeah. So the
Fake
second one is the weakest one in the
Yeah.
whole franchise. And then what happened was that was, I think, 2008 or 2009. No, it wasn't. 2007 was the first film.
Yeah.
September 2007, it was released in cinema.
Yeah.
The second one, I think that was 2010.
Yeah.
Right. But then what happened was, and the only reason that, because we didn't think this would be anymore because they die at the end.
Yeah,
Right.
of course.
But then what happened is you get to 2015, and then they get a call from the guys who got the rights, and they're like, "Do you want to come back and play Tony Tucker?" I said, "Well, he's fucking dead, so it's going to be difficult." I said, "Look, it don't matter. We just do it. We're going to do the Pat Tate story." So he's like, "Sweet." So we ended up doing this film, and it was a good laugh, and you know, it went out in the cinema and did whatever it should do.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Right, we're back. We're going to do Marbella now.
Yeah.
You know Nigel Benn, why don't you get him in a movie?" So I've rung Nigel up and said, "Nigel, do you want to fucking do this film?" No, sorry, I didn't mean him. I saw him at an event, a WBC event. So we was literally talking. I said, "Nigel," I said, "Do you want to be in a movie?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Yeah, you know, I've never been in a movie. What would you want me to play?" And I said, "Well, yourself. It's fucking about the Essex boys." He went, No. He goes, like, you know,
Connor will do it.
no, but he didn't want to do it. He said, "Look,
Oh, really?
I'm a born again Christian. My wife will go mad."
Yeah.
He said, "That's a part of my life that I want to
History,
forget." And he said, "But you know, my son might play me."
Yeah.
So I said, "Well, let me speak to him." So I spoke to Connor, and then Connor was like, "Oh, fucking have to be in a movie."
Are you following Conor Benn's journey at the moment?
Yeah, of course.
What do you think?
I mean, look, he's fought Eubank and he's beaten him, which is great.
Do you think he would have beaten without the hydration clause or not?
I'll be honest with you. I think that, you know, it's very difficult because he's either 2 or 3 weights lighter, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So if you and that fight was what everyone wanted to see.
Exactly. I agree. Yeah.
So I think there has to be a little bit of give and take, but the hydration clause didn't affect his performance in the first one.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
So I think anybody that says, "Oh yeah, well it was because he was dehydrated, that's why he beat him," I think it's bollocks. I think, look, I went to both fights.
Yeah.
The first fight, I thought Conor did a good job.
Yeah.
But I just think Chris nicked it. And when he did the second fight, he schooled him, right?
Yeah, absolutely. schooled him.
But you know, I was with Felix Cash that night, and we was there watching. And Felix trains with Conor, and he actually said to me, he said, "I'm surprised Conor didn't win the first time."
Really?
He said, "I'm on Conor tonight." I said, "I'm on Conor tonight." And then what happened, which was really interesting, was you know, because he actually said to me after the first round, he said, "Eubank's legs are gone. He's shot." Right? And I said, "Well, what does that mean?" And he said, "Look," he said, you can have a great training camp, right?" And he said, once you get over 35, he said, you can just step in the ring and everything's gone, and you fucking get chinned and you get knocked out, or it's not that you've got too many miles on the clock. So I think for Eubank, I think he should retire now because he's never won a world title.
Yeah.
He's not gonna win a world title.
If you watch Ben at the moment, what he's doing really well, he must have a good manager because he's won that fight, they're sending him everywhere and he's mixing it. He was in an event, who was
Eddie
fighting
Hearn.
yesterday? What is it, Eddie Hearn, is it? Yeah, so Eddie's basically sending him in to argue with any of the top boxers. I think he was just arguing with Shakur yesterday.
I mean, listen, I love Conor Benn. He's a good mate of mine, and we've done 2 movies together because he was in Ibiza. He was in Marbella playing his dad. And then when we did Rise of the Footsoldier Origins with Vinnie Jones, and that was the first film I played lead in, he was in that as well. So we've done 2 movies together. So I'm always going to be in Team Ben.
I hope he wins the title. I think it's a big ask for him, especially come the name. We'll see how he gets on. Do you think you'd ever see yourself living here in Dubai?
I'd love to. I mean,
so many people are moving here. It's crazy. Like people that I know of real, not just normal people, successful people with really big businesses, actors, musicians. Everyone's sort of basing themselves here at the moment because of the UK situation.
Well, I think what's interesting is there's a couple of billionaires I know who've just moved here, and you know, they were just like, you know, I think the problem with the UK is, obviously, you know, it does feel like they're just letting people just randomly come in, right, on the beaches, which is mad. And obviously, if they're randomly letting people in, you know, what else are they bringing in? Exactly. And then you sort of look at the other side of it, and you think, you know, you can't really wear a watch in England because if you're in the wrong place, you are going to get stabbed or turned up.
Even Knightsbridge now, and I've just seen the Rolex place, and there's smashing hammers through. No one seems to. I mean, I am from Coventry. I'm not like from a posh place. I'm used to like rough, but like there is a point now where it's like this is like rough.
Yeah.
And it's making. I love going back in the summer. I love going back Christmas, but the bit in between that, like, wow, it's just changing every day. And this is what Dubai does right. Dubai has control over who's coming in, who's living here, and they know everything about you. Right. In England, the best thing that can happen, in my opinion, is if they do the IDs for everyone. People go, oh, well, I don't want to be tracked. All right, cool. We'll live with 8 million people that you don't know who they are and who's in the country and what weapons they're carrying. No, you do that then instead.
Yeah, I mean, I've always loved Dubai. I've always been a massive fan of and I was born in 1971.
Yeah.
So obviously, when it all kicked off in September, when Hisham Matsum decided that he was going to build this place, people probably thought, how are you going to do that?
Yeah.
But he's done it, and when you actually look at the Dubai journey from 71 to today, it's unbelievable.
It's insane.
And I look at it and I'm thinking, because a lot of people out here that I know, from sort of celebrities to like sports people to famous people to musicians to rappers to influencers, like you said, a lot of people are here. So I'm thinking, well, I've built this amazing podcast, this Terry Stone Connection. We've got he's #1 on Spotify. We've hit like 34 million people on YouTube. So we got a YouTube platform in 100K, which puts in the top 0.5% of creators worldwide. So I'm thinking, well, if I did a Terry Stone Dubai Connection, and then interview someone like yourself, go for some, because for me, it's like, I love Dubai. So why wouldn't I come in once a month and do a podcast? So I'm applying for a golden visa.
Yeah.
So you never know, I might be on over one day.
There you go. Come and join us. Well, look, from my point of view, hoping for some more Terry Stone movies imminently.
I've got one. So when we
what we're doing.
So we that was the other exciting bit of news. We did a film called Tales from a Trap, which is like Top Boy, but on steroids. And we filmed that November, December. It's being edited right now.
Wow.
And we're doing some really interesting stuff with that. We're working with crypto.com. And we're going to be digitalizing the assets of the actors, which has never been done on a film before. Lots of people have tried to do it before they make the film to raise money for the film, but it's never worked. So we're doing it as we've got the film in post. We're going to do a Tales from a Trap YouTube channel where we're going to interview, because some of the people in the film are people like Fumsy Engineer, M.R, some big sort of UK rap stars, that have got millions of video views. They've worked with every person you can think of.
Who's going to have the rights to this one?
The beautiful thing is this, right? Because we're going to do a YouTube channel. What we want to do is we want to collect everybody's data, because we want to basically use it to be able to sell stuff to them directly.
Of course.
And the problem I had when I had the Rise of the Footsoldier franchise is I give the rights away. This one I'm not giving away. I'm keeping. And then what we're going to do is we're going to create a whole community around it. So once we've done the digital assets of the actors, they're going to be able to physically come in and watch film before it's released. They're going to be able to listen to the soundtrack before it's released, give us feedback. Wow. They're going to be able to buy merchandise. They're going to be able to come.
So it's like its own platform, basically.
Well, no. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a community where, if you're backing us, you can get VIP access. So we have a VIP screening before the film's released. So
where will it be released? So that's what.
So this is the exciting thing. So there was a company called, there's a TV series on Amazon called The Boys. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Right. So did you see what they did?
No.
So this company Amazon bought in, created a metaverse for the show. Right. So the metaverse, everyone knows, didn't really work. Everyone's walking around with these silly headsets.
I watch people nearly try and sell me a digital house with a gym and I'm like, I could have that, and then you come out. Do I really want to spend that money on that?
Yeah, but it's stupid, right? But what they've done is they've said, look, the metaverse didn't work for what they thought it was going to work for. But the thing is, if you actually create, it's like a Grand Theft Auto game.
Just about to say, that would be the biggest asset in the world come the end of this year, where trades will happen beyond anything anyone can think of. Anyone who doesn't follow gaming, I like gaming. People buy coins to buy houses, cars, lifestyles in a digital world.
Look at Grand Theft Auto, right?
That's what I'm talking about.
And that's template. So what they've done is they've took that template and they've gone, you can go into this platform now. And you can be one of the boys, and you can play, you can walk around, you can do tasks, you can. But in Air Film, because it's two rival gangs, you can actually then start robbing each other's gangs. But then the whole thing is about obviously gamifying the thing. So that's being built now as well. Wow. So what we're doing is we're building an infrastructure around this franchise so that we've got a YouTube channel where we can promote it. And then also we can have people that aren't in the film on it as well. But the people we've got on, I mean, Eddie Hall's in the movie. You know, he's just done a film with Stallone and Statham. Do you know what I mean? So we've got a great cast. And for me, like, we are going to sell it to a Netflix and Amazon, a Paramount, whoever.
Yeah.
But the thing is, for me now, I'm not in a rush. So I can build all this stuff out and we can start monetizing it and building a community. So when we do actually release it, we might have 1 million people that we can go, listen, guys, we're in a cinema. So they can do all their marketing and advertising and digital stuff. But we can actually go, well, we can actually push this out to people who've registered with us because they want to be part of their community. Do you know what I mean? So I think what a lot of people aren't doing in the independent space in England, independent filmmaking in England is pretty much dead.
Yeah.
Because what's happened is the government have took away a lot of the incentives. There used to be a thing called an EIS scheme, which would basically mean if you were a taxpayer, you could, you know, get some tax relief. But now it only works if you make multiple films, and then you've got to demonstrate that you're growing your company.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is if you make a film that doesn't work, right, or it loses money, then all of a sudden they can come in and say, well, you're not growing the company because that's lost money. And then they could just null and void your EIS thing. So it's made it very tricky to do it. So all we're doing now in airspace is private equity. So we're not raising money through tax schemes. And a lot of people have been fucked on these tax schemes. So we've stopped those. We've said we're not going to do this anymore. But this is the first film that anybody's done in our country independently with the infrastructure that we built. But this just took like 2 years to pull together. It hasn't just happened overnight.
Tales of the Trap, yeah?
Yeah.
That's what we're looking forward to. If you are watching this or watching this podcast, this is the one to watch out for and look out for an exciting gamification, tokenization of a movie. As a young entrepreneur, what lessons would you pass on to yourself later on as a film creator and entrepreneur?
Well, I think one of the biggest lessons I learned was you have to have... So unfortunately for me, I was an academic, so I didn't go to university. I didn't have any qualifications. You know, at school I just fucked around, and I probably had ADHD or some issue.
Still, oh, a bird.
So something definitely meant I couldn't focus. And I think one of the things that someone said to me was, you know, if you're going to go into business, get a good lawyer, get a good accountant, and work with people smarter than you. Right. And those are the 3 things that I don't know why I don't teach it in schools, because not everybody is destined to work 9 to 5 in Asda on the till game.
It's because people in school are taught to be employees. They want to climb the ladder instead of build the ladder. I like to build the ladder.
Same.
Tell me about your lowest low. So you've obviously got the highs and everything that's happened, but is there a moment where you thought, shit, this isn't good? What's been your hardest point?
I think there's been multiple times. I think when you're an entrepreneur or you're running a business, you know, it is like a roller coaster, you know. And I think one of the things that I fucked up on, the millennium.
Really?
And there's all this hype about the millennium, you know, it's a one-off event, this, that, and the other, you know, everyone's going to pay fucking £200 a ticket. And I'm thinking, who's going to pay £200 a ticket? And I just thought, you know what, I'm going to do New Year's Day, do like £15, you know, New Year's Day party, right, and sell out. And because I had the 3 brands, I had One Nation, Garage Nation, and Rave Nation. So I started to do 3 events. But Rave Nation didn't really go off, but One Nation and Garage Nation really went off. So I thought, I'm going to do 3 events New Year's Day. I can sell them out and I can make a nice few quid, right? So I thought, I'm going to do that. And then my partner's going, the millennium, you know, it's a one-off opportunity. I said, you know what, fuck the millennium. I don't think it's going to work, right? So then, like, everybody starts ringing me, like all these massive venues going, yeah, what are you doing on Millennium? And I'm like, doing stuff New Year's Day, I'm not doing Millennium.
Yeah.
But you can have a club for the Millennium. You can have it for free, right? And I'm like, for free? They're like, yeah, why don't you have... So I had all these fucking great clubs in London for free. And then, like, rang the DJs up. Oh, what do you want? I want fucking £3,000. Well, you only get 300 quid normally. Well, it's the Millennium. I said, well, I'm not going to give you £3,000. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I've done all the numbers and I'm like, we've got to charge £80 a ticket. We can't do it for 15 or 20. It's got to be 80. So I then started to get carried away. And then my partner's going, look, you're a award-winning fucking promoter. People are going to come. Yeah, it's a one-off event. And then there's all the bullshit about, oh, well,
the computer's going to
go and the grid's going to knob off. So you end up arming fucking generators and thinking, well, it's going to end at 12 o'clock. And then, long story short, we've done a bollocks.
Really?
Absolutely done a bollocks. And then everyone on New Year's Day fucking had it away. And I literally was sitting there on the 2nd of January thinking, why did I get sucked into this bullshit? You know, and I think part of it is because, if you've got a partner and he's saying, look, we can make a lot of money. And look, if we'd have sold it out, it would have been life-changing money. Yeah. 3 venues for like £80 a head, we'd have had it away. But unfortunately, we didn't. And that was probably, you imagine being on such a high that everything you touch, we never lost money. Everything we did made money. So then you're right up there and you go, let's do this. We can make some proper money here. Yeah. And then it just goes boom. Yeah. And that I'm
having that at the moment in my life. Bitcoin.
Right. Did you buy it at 65 grand?
No, I bought it. So everything I touch turns to gold, like property, anything business. And I never feel a bad moment ever. It doesn't happen. Bought Bitcoin in 95. I was like, yeah, I'm looking, yes, I was 75, but I've gone in quite heavy. So I'm sitting there, my profit and loss. I'm like, whoo, I don't like this feeling. So that doesn't happen to me very often, but when you do, it hurts, doesn't it?
Well, I think, there's loads of people who've made fortunes out of Bitcoin. There's loads of people who've done the bollocks, I know people when it hit 65 and then it's going to be 100 by Christmas. I know people that was actually going out, remortgaging their houses, buying Bitcoin and putting Bitcoin on credit cards. And then obviously it went down to 16. Yeah. And all those people, when it's going to zero, it's going to zero. So
you just don't sell. That's the way the market works. They shake everyone out. I honestly believe in their markets, there are big people at the top pushing people out and let them panic, sell, and then bring it back up. So what would you say your biggest accomplishment is in your career, and then also family-wise? And then does success look different from younger to where you are today?
Right. So I think winning awards is good. It doesn't mean anything, but it just means that you're obviously doing something right. And I've done that as a promoter, I've done it as a filmmaker, I've done that as an actor. But I think for me, the biggest sort of thing for me was I got the freedom of the City of London. And that was last year. And literally, it was mad because when I was at this, a friend of mine had got the freedom. Yeah. And for anyone who doesn't know what it is.
It was a freedom. Does that mean I can just walk around one in London?
Basically, yeah. And if you get pissed, the police have to take you home. And
really?
You can bear a sword. I mean, a lot of it is like, basic, but it's been going around. So
but is that a thing? So is it freedom of London?
And the only people that get it, like Nelson Mandela got it. Yeah. I'm trying to think.
Bex must have it.
Lord Admiral Nelson. I don't know if Bex has got it. Morgan Freeman's got it. Sir Michael Caine's got it. It's like
you're not going to catch Morgan Freeman and Michael Caine pissed out their head on the street.
No, please pick them up. But it's so crazy. Like when you actually look at the people that have got it, Desmond Tutu's got it. Like when you look at the list of people, and when I got offered it and I accepted it, and they said, okay, your Freedom of the City ceremony is on the 7th of October in the Guildhall in the City of London. Wow. And they said, we're going to give you a private ceremony. I said, what does that mean? They said, well, you can invite all your fucking mates. And normally it's just like you share it with people. So I was like, well, that's amazing. So I had some great friends that came and joined us. And then just before I went in, my wife said to me, she said, who'd have thought a bloke from accounts for a state with no qualifications, he's got this.
Amazing.
Do you know what I mean?
Did you collect the award and go, thanks, you fucking cunt?
To be honest, I was actually blown away by it because I think at that point, you sort of think, wow, to get this.
It's a big impact on people in London and people's lives.
Well, you get a lot of these lovers and these artists and these musicians that get offered CBEs or MBEs or knighthoods, and they turn them down and they go, I'm not buying into this bullshit. And you kind of go, why? You've achieved something great in your life. Yeah. If you get recognised by the government, essentially, and they give you a pat on the back, take it.
100% take it. All them hard yards are worthwhile. Congratulations on that.
What's the point? So that was a big highlight. And obviously having my children, been married for 25 years, all of these things.
Even though she's hammered you every time you've turned up in shoes, the heel and everything. You're a shit actor.
It's only been once.
You're wasting our time.
It's only been once. All right. Yeah, I promise.
Of course.
But no, I think we've when I sort of look at my friends and I look at other people, some people don't have children. Some people don't have, they get married 5, 10 times, 2 times. Yeah. So, I touch wood that, I've had a long relationship and I'm happy and I've got 3 amazing children. So I think, as from a family perspective, I think having children and having a stable family and a good wife is important. Because for me, family is everything. Yeah. And then
I never used to think that, by the way. As I was younger, I chased money. I relentlessly chased money and success and fame and power that come with it. And as you get older and you make money, like, money doesn't change your life. Like, you can have 10 grand in your bank, or 50, or 1 million, or 5 million. But if you go home to an empty house or an unhappy house, or you've got no kids
what's the point?
What's the point? Like, I've always learned, and it's with friends as well, when you're rising, the most enjoyable thing is actually bringing people with you. Yeah. That's the number one thing. I said the video, I took my son to the WrestleMania, and I jumped on a plane, went there, spent mad money getting there, and I thought, this is hard. Like, it's been stressful getting to this point. But I thought, do you know what? I looked at my son's face, and I was like, he was like absolutely buzzing. He'd seen the wrestlers. Cody Rhodes like this close to him, and it's 3 a.m. He's still up. Oh my God. And I thought, these moments are why you work.
100%. And the thing is, like, when you asked me that question about success, what does it look like now? I think as you get older, I definitely think you appreciate things more.
Yeah.
And I think the only regrets, and you probably have them as well, is when you're like, you're not chasing money because you want to go, look at me, I'm rich. Yeah. You're chasing money because you want to provide for your family.
That's all it is.
And you want to get out of that. You don't want to be down there. You want to be, if you don't get up there, you want to be there.
Oh, you want to be at Marbella in the Icos in your shorts, chilling. My family's here, and I'm having a good time, rather than in Benidorm, like
100%.
DJing in Benidorm. Your kids are getting their free cocktails over there. Like, we all just want to supply for our family.
But I think that's, I think, look, I think I've never felt successful, right? Even though people would say, well, you've run all these clubs, you've done acting, you've won these awards, you've done all these films, you've got this great podcast. Yeah. But the thing for me is, like, I always feel like and it sounds weird, but I always feel like I haven't started yet. Yeah. I always feel, and I'm 55 now, so they'll probably carry me out. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's normal. People will watch this podcast, and that, I've told you that I've watched you throughout the years, and people might watch me. I don't feel like I'm doing well. I'm always built that way. It's just,
I think if you start thinking you're doing well, that's when you're fucked, because then people start.
So when I train in the morning, like, if I'm in bad shape, I laugh at this. I take my top off and go, "You fat horrible mess." I'm so horrible to myself. Like, you ain't got any money. There's better companies than you, and I get to that point where, all right, let's go then, and it keeps me going. Right. So I think that when people say don't be hard on yourself, I actually don't believe it. Let everyone else be nice to me. I want to be hard on myself.
I think you've got to, because the thing is, like, nothing in life is easy. Like, my journey as an actor has been fucking hard, right? And even now, I've read, have you watched Succession?
Yeah, Succession.
So, that guy Logan Roy, who's played by Brian Cox, and all he says is "fuck hard."
Yeah.
But like, I've read his book, and his book is amazing, because he's like, I still have to go and fucking audition and put things on tape,
and people won't see that.
And occasionally I get offered stuff, but I still have to go out there and hustle. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a bit like Macaulay Culkin's cousin. He basically was dead in the water, weren't he, acting? Then he's just got a Grammy or something from his role in it. It's just incredible. But again, no one will see that journey.
But that's the beautiful thing about acting. Whether you're a man or a woman, like, there's no time. Like, you can make it at 20, you can make it at 60.
Yeah.
So I think that's what attracted me to the business.
Yeah.
But if I hadn't done the acting and the filmmaking, then the podcast wouldn't have probably happened, because I was talking to somebody about investing in a film.
Yeah.
And he said to me, do you know what you should do? You should do a podcast.
Yeah.
And I said, why? And he goes, what do you think you should do? I said, well, everyone's got a podcast. I said, the fucking cleaner's got one. Do you know what I mean?
This is how you clean here today.
But he said, why don't you just do it? And I said, and he goes, we own a podcast studio and we've got a team. Yeah. So that's how I got going on that 2 years ago. So again, I didn't know if it would be any good. But I think if you're doing things, I'm sure for you, Lewis, as well, as you're growing this business, there's opportunities like you've got in the ticketing, and things come your way, but they wouldn't have done if you hadn't have done.
They never in a million years. I think when people say, like, they demand respect, I think you earn it from doing something really well, and they recognize you for it, and then they come to you. I've always been that way. I was talking to Alex off camera. Alex owns Golf Podcast Studios in Business Bay, an incredible setup for anybody looking to create and have their own content platform in Dubai. Reach out to Alex.
Yeah, but I think for you, Lewis, if we have the premiere in September, you might have to come and join us in London.
You have to edit me in the AI. Thank you very much for coming down, man.
I appreciate it, Lewis. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, mate.